Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. You're watching the PCC Airfoils Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. PCC Airfoils, keeping the engines of change moving forward. Booyah!
Happy Friday!
Hey, here we go, baby!
To the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, where we count down to kickoff. 48 hours, 30 minutes to the Browns and Bears from Cleveland Brown Stadium. I'm Jay Crawford. We're going to take a look at a big play from last week's win. Bernie's going to tell us why it worked. Tyvis is going to tell us what went wrong. Bull.
I'm Adam the Bull, and I'm going to tell you who the most important offensive player is for the Browns this week, not named Joe Flacco. G.
I'm G. Bush, El Presidente of the Kool-Aid Mafia. I'm going to tell you which is more likely, Cedric Tillman catching a touchdown pass or the Cleveland Browns getting points on the board with a touchdown. We'll let you know. Jason.
And I'm Jason Lloyd, and just like always, we'll do headlines this week. You don't even have to watch the game. We're going to tell you who's going to win and why. Mikey.
And I'm Mikey McNuggets, and the battle in the trenches between the Browns' offensive line and the Bears' defensive line is going to be a matchup to keep an eye on when kickoff comes around on Sunday.
It's usually where it's won.
Yeah.
Line of scrimmage, point of attack. Who's going to have the advantage when the Browns have the ball? We'll dive into that. We've got a busy show for you, a full 30 minutes. I want to start with something that's been a bit of a trend this year. The one thing we know is the Browns have had to rely heavily on backup quarterbacks. But we also know that through all of this quarterback musical chairs, there hasn't been one quarterback that's been able to avoid the third game trap. In other words, some have put two good games together, and Flacco has, but yet this year, no one has done it 3 times in a row. Guys, why will Joe Flacco break that trend this week and make it 3 straight good games?
Well, listen, I think he's going to do it. A, he has the experience level. B, because Kevin Stefanski is going to call a game plan that he's going to be able to digest, throw the football, and be able to be, respectable in terms of finding his marks. I think this team is a little different, and I know people don't like the Disney magic. It is the holiday season, but I just think this team is different. I think right now, for the next 5 games, I think Joe Flacco is locked in, and he's playing like the young Joe Flacco and excited to be back in the league.
Here's why it'll work, because Joe just got here and he's already picking up Kevin's offense, and the more that he's here, it actually fits what Joe does perfectly. Kevin and Joe actually fit really well together because Kevin, one thing that we've learned that he really likes to do is he likes quarterbacks under center and he likes play action. And we got the numbers to back it up that it works. Coming off of play action, well, there you see the formation, the pre-snap formation. He's got Joe under center more than any other quarterback this year. It's only 2 games, but if anything, I think this is going to stay consistent or even go up. And that number, by the way, of Flacco at 48% under center is right in line with where he's been for his career. So this is a tenet to Kevin's offense, is a quarterback under center and running play action. Both of David Njoku's touchdowns last week came off of play action, and it's just something that Kevin believes in as a head coach. For that reason, and because Joe runs it so well, I don't see any reason why this can't continue. It doesn't mean they're going to win every game, but I think that the offensive performance is sustainable.
The only positive about late season injuries is that the guys that are replacing those guys are fresh. Joe Flacco hasn't been hit in a long time until these last 2 weeks. Right now, Joe Flacco is playing with a lot of energy, a lot of moxie, and a lot of confidence. And most importantly, the rest of the team around him believes in him. I think it's clear. I don't know that the rest of the team believed in DTR. They believed in Watson, but I don't think they believed in DTR. I don't think they certainly didn't believe in PJ Walker. This team believes in Joe Flacco. They believe he can lead them to victories. Listen, you never know what's going to happen, but the way he's played the first 2 games, I have every reason to believe against the Bears defense that's played better, but I still don't think is that good, especially against the pass, that he will play well again.
I think Joe Flacco's magical carpet ride continues for at least one more game. And I'd already thought that, but yesterday we had Bernie Kosar in on our YouTube show, and Bernie was emphatic about one thing. And you touched on this. His grasp of the playbook is only going to grow week to week to week. We saw things in week 2 we did not see in week 1. For that reason, I think we're going to see things in week 3 that we haven't seen yet. That has me very excited. Absolutely right that Kevin Stefanski has the guy driving the bus that most fits what he likes to do. I'm not saying he would pick Joe Flacco over Deshaun Watson. That's absurd long term. However, for right now, Kevin's like a kid in a candy store because he's got the guy that is very good at running what Kevin loves to run. Will it finally come to an end? I don't know, but I think it continues this week. All right, I think we all agree that Joe Flacco is the most important Cleveland Brown offensively in this football game. Who's number 2?
Guys, I got David Njoku as the number 2 player. As a lot of guys have been falling around him, and you've seen other guys that are playing but banged up, David Njoku has been completely healthy, and he's playing recently his best football. He had a great game last week. I think, for all the talk about, obviously he has chemistry with the receivers, especially Elijah Moore. I think Joe Flacco loves throwing to David Njoku, and David Njoku has been very reliable with Joe Flacco. He seems to be catching listen, he has his drops from time to time, but for the most part, he's been very reliable with Joe Flacco. I think he's a big key to the Browns winning this week.
I thought long and hard about Njoku. I agree with a lot of the points that you made, but I have to say Amari Cooper just because he's what drives this offense right now. And their drops have been a problem the last couple of weeks. We talked about on the YouTube show. I think it's his ribs still affected him and just trying to protect himself on some of these hits that he knows he's going to take. But the offense goes as Amari drives it. He's their leading receiver across the board by a wide margin. And as Joe Flacco gets more comfortable in the offense, as we talk about the play-action game and how important that is, Njoku plays a role in that, but Amari Cooper, to me, plays a bigger role. They've got to get the number 1 guy back involved. Hopefully, Amari's ribs are to the point now where he can start putting up the numbers that he did early in the year.
Yeah, I've agreed with you, Jason. Amari Cooper is the guy for me. He's the guy that spreads the field. He's the guy that's running the deeper routes, the 10, 12 to 15, 20-yard routes. They need those routes. They need that to be a threat in this offense because if they don't have that, the field gets constricted very quickly. So when you look at it, Amari Cooper has to catch the football, can't fumble the football. I think he'll bounce back in this game. But by far, to me, Amari Cooper is the guy that really gives you the explosive plays, the big chunk plays, and they need that aspect in that offense.
You guys are close. I think they're 2 and 3, but the number 1 most important guy in this offense that you guys haven't mentioned, or the quarterback Joe Flacco, is Jerome Ford, and here's why. The play fake has been very effective so far, but for the play fake to be effective and continue to be effective, you have to have a running game threat because what you're asking the defense to do is to pull up and honor the run. If there is no threat of a run game, they don't have to pull up. They can stay back because it's more likely they're going to pass than run. Stats bear that out. They're throwing it 2 plays for every 1 run play. Jerome Ford is going to need to reestablish the Browns' running game so the play fake is more effective. And if he can do that early, I think it's very important that they get the running game on track in the first quarter. If he does that, talk about opening up the field. The back end of the field is open all day long because they have to honor that play fake. All right, next, Browns offensive line. One of the mysteries to me this year is how they've been able to be so successful with the wings of that offensive line changing constantly. They're down to their, 4th and 5th tackles right now? Mm-hmm. Browns offensive line, Bears defensive line. We talk about the point of attack being so critical. Who has the advantage in that matchup?
Listen, I'm gonna go. This may seem tough. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I like Montez Sweat and the fact that he's been playing so much better, and the defense is playing so much better for the Bears since he's come along the last 5 or 6 games. And the reason I give them the edge is because of the perimeter of our offensive line. When you look at Hudson, he's had a lot of penalties. He's had a lot of jumping penalties. And those penalties, when you got an offense that is not going to be explosive, it needs to move the chains, stay ahead of the sticks, you can't have that. To me, their defensive line is a little bit better than the Browns, given the fact that their tackles in the middle, we know it's solid. We know what we got in Teller and Batonio. Poaches hasn't played it as well. And if Poaches is not in the game, that means you got Harris. And so now you just have the 2 guards. So for me, I'm going to go with the Bears by a small margin because I just like their edge rushers better than our tackles.
We got the news this week that DeJuan Jones and Jed Wills are done for the year, but they've already been without them for so long that it doesn't really change anything. This unit, while it's not ideal, has figured out how to play together. The tackles are a concern, but I'm going to take the Browns just because we've seen enough out of them to know that they can get by. Now, Posick wasn't on the practice field today. That's an issue. If he's missing at center, then Harris probably slides in at center, and Michael Dunn maybe becomes that hybrid guy of just sort of moving around everywhere. We know the Browns like to go heavy. They like to go jumbo sets, so that's nothing new for them. They know how to adjust to this. Bill Callahan's the best offensive line coach in the country, and they just figure out a way to get it done. Give me the Browns.
Jason said it at the end, although it was funny, you said country, as if it's a college team.
College coaches, too. NFL and college
that's
coaches.
That's it. Bill Callahan gives the Browns the advantage. You know, the Bears' defensive line, they've done a nice job against the run, but in the past, they don't have anything outside of Montez Sweat. And we've seen with a way more talented Myles Garrett that if you only have one pass rusher, you don't have much of a pass rush. They're near the bottom of the barrel in sacks. They have nobody with more than 4, I think, or 4.5. Their leading sack guy, Yannick Ngakoue, is gone. He's done. He's not playing. So, yes, the Ethan Pochich thing made it a little closer for me because it's trending towards him not playing. But we saw with 2 nobodies at tackle last week, they did a great job. Joe Flacco got sacked once, got hit 3 times. Plus, Joe Flacco, you factor that in. He's smart. He gets rid of the ball when he needs to. It's not a huge edge because of the injuries, but I'm going with the offensive line.
Yeah, I did have Browns slight edge, but the Postage news is concerning to me. I mean, so we asked this question this week on our internet show. Is there a tipping point where all of a sudden you look at the injuries and you say, okay, like next man up is cool and everything, but we're running out of men? I think that the Browns offensive line, if they lose Postage, even though Harris once upon a time was penned in as starter at that position, I think if you're down 3 starters, to me, because that's the majority, that's the tipping point. So if he's not healthy, I'm going to give a very, very slight edge to the Bears, very slight. If he plays, I think the Browns have a very slight edge. In answering the question that way, I'll ask the second part to this topic. The second part was, do you think that this matchup will decide the football game? And I say no. I think there are bigger, more important matchups to watch. I just don't think that there's going to be a clear-cut winner. It's kind of a wash for me right now between the Bears' defensive line and the Browns' offensive line. Quick answer for you guys?
No, I don't think it will decide it. I think the only way the Bears. Okay. I think the only way the Bears win this game if Justin Fields is fantastic. Yeah.
And
that's their only chance.
Very good. We're taking our first break. It's brought to you by PCC Airfoils. When we come back, we took one big play from last week's Browns win. Bernie's going to tell us why this play worked from an offensive standpoint. Tyvis tells us what went wrong. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're rewinding to last week. The Browns had some success in the passing game, particularly with David Njoku. We throw it to our football lab now with Mikey McNuggets and Bernie Kosar to tell us why one play in particular clicked.
Thanks, Jay. Kevin Stefanski deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation for keeping the Browns afloat despite all the injuries, but it's not just that. He does a masterful job of scheming guys open, and not just a little bit open, Bernie. Mm-hmm. We're talking wide open to the point where I think you, myself, and we'll talk to Coach Tyvis in a sec, but even Coach Tyvis can make throws. And against Jacksonville, David Njoku had no one in the same zip code as him when he scored the first touchdown, and that's a design masterful from the Browns offensive staff.
The Masters program. Coach Stefanski, not only, in my mind, being Coach of the Year with the quarterback injuries, his scheming here with Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, Chad O'Shea, the receiver coach, to see the Jacksonville Jaguars being this dangerous, gambling this much in short situations. This is typically a goal line type defense. So for Coach Stefanski to see the nuances in the Jacksonville defense and to come up with this play, and look at Joe Flacco with the awesome play action pass, the old school Boomer Esiason, dip the shoulder fake here here to get Jacksonville to really buy into this and for David Njoku to get that stem release like that. Jacksonville's middle linebacker and or corner blowing the coverage because of the play fake that Joe Flacco made on this.
Well, that was Bernie Kosar with the offensive perspective of the play. Let's bring in Coach Tyvis, now our NFL veteran safety, to break down the Jaguars' defensive mishaps. Flacco completely faked them out.
Yes.
And Tyvis, you said when you were playing in Seattle, you know that situation all too well because Pete Carroll hammered it home in some pregame meetings.
Yes, he did. So when I was in Seattle, Coach Carroll came in. It was short yardage and goal line day. And he made sure everybody came in and raised their right hand. He said, I solemnly swear to play the pass first. With that being said, let's take a look at this play. Rayshawn Jenkins is the safety on this play. He got David Njoku. They're in a goal line situation. Goal line means that there is no receivers detached, so they bring in the big boys. You're supposed to play pass first. You're supposed to look through your tight end to the running back. If it's a pass, you take the tight end. If it's a run, you are the contained player on that side. Obviously, Rayshawn Jenkins' eyes was in the backfield because if he was looking at his key, which is David Njoku, he would have read pass and he would have played man-to-man on this. Having your eyes in bad places lead to plays like this. And, yep, David Njoku's so wide open that I can make that pass. Joe Flacco does a great job getting the ball down there. And David Njoku shows you he's an NBA player. Look at that with the layup. That right there is confirmation. He turns around with his arms down. He says, oh, my God, I messed up.
Well, Tyvis, you nailed that. You didn't mess up like Jenkins, and hopefully Flacco can continue his stellar play against Chicago on Sunday. Jay, back to you.
All right, guys, thanks. Great stuff. We're taking a break. When we come back, our producer, Mikey McNuggets, is going to give us two statements. The game, what's more likely? On the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That's right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're here every Friday, 12:30. Before the big Browns game. If you like us here, you'll love us on our YouTube show every Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. You can watch us whenever you want. Just type in UCSS on any YouTube search page. All right, Mikey, fun game. I like this. Either or. What are we doing?
It's called What's More Likely. I'll give you two statements. You tell me what's more likely to happen, and then one of you guys gets a chance to tell the other panelists why they're wrong. We'll start with the first one. What's more likely to happen on Sunday? Joe Flacco throws for 350 yards or Justin Fields throws for 225? Jason, start us off.
Well, first of all, I don't think either one of these is going to happen. But I do think I've dipped into Garrett's Kool-Aid a little bit because I'm going to take Joe Flacco in 350. He hasn't done it in about 4 or 5 years, but it goes back to what we talked about at the Open. I really like him in this offense. And in Kevin Stefanski's system on play-action plays, the Browns are averaging about 8 yards per play. So if you factor that out, he threw for 3-something last week. Right there it is, 311 last week. That's not a far leap from 311 to 350. I'm not a huge believer in the Bears defensively. I think the Browns can pile up yards in this game, and I'm just not a big fan of Justin Fields. So for that reason, give me G's Kool-Aid and give me the 350.
Now listen, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. It's still in my system, but I haven't drank it in 24 hours, so I'm going to have to go the opposite way. Justin Fields throwing for 250 is not too far-fetched, especially because I think that the Bears are going to be down in this football game. I don't think they're going to be able to run the football on the Cleveland Browns. They have more of a three-headed monster type that running game. I don't believe that's going to get it done. Justin Fields got 250 because he's going to throw it more.
Wow, he took the other side.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid is on our system. What's number two?
Number two, what's more likely to happen? The Browns score a defensive touchdown or Cedric Tillman scores his first career touchdown? Jay, this one's for you.
A lot of missing parts on the defense. A lot of missing parts. So I don't feel strongly that the defense can find the end zone in this football game. Something fluky could happen, strip sack, fumble, touchdown, maybe a pick six. But I think it's more likely that Cedric Tillman finds the end zone, and here's why. He went from being on the side of a milk carton to being mildly involved in the offense, and we've seen that involvement increase with Joe Flacco. What we haven't seen is him find the end zone, and I think that changes. I do think he scores a touchdown, or it's rather more likely he scores a touchdown than the Browns defense.
Again, I don't think either is likely. However, Cedric Tillman hasn't reached the end zone. The Browns defense has. The Browns defense has been, for the most part, very good all year. The Bears, Justin Fields is a quarterback that if you get him out of pocket, he can get turnover prone and mistake prone. I think we got a pick 6 for Denzel Ward, who's going to play this week, please. And he's going to have a pick 6 touchdown. Cedric Tillman, yeah, he's getting more action, but he's still way down the depth chart of targets.
All right, very good.
Number 3, what's more likely to happen? This game comes down to a last-second score, or either team wins by 14 or more points. Bull, start us off.
Yeah, this was the easiest one for me. I just think it's got to be close because the Browns play mostly close games. The Browns have played 13 games this year, and 9 or 10 of them have been close. More than 14, again, I guess that's possible, but just I think the Browns defense will be good, but it's not playing at the elite level it was playing earlier in the year because of the injuries. So I think the Bears will be able to score a little bit to keep it close. And I picked I think a 4 or 7 point game. So in the end, I think if I had to pick, more likely to be a close game than a blowout.
Browns have been better at home than they have been on the road. They've had a couple lopsided wins at home. And I believe in this offense, in Flacco being able to generate a couple of scoring drives. I don't think it's going to be a terribly high-scoring game, but I think the Browns are going to have this put away before the last seconds.
All right, what's next?
And the last one. What is more likely to happen? The Browns rush for 200 or more yards as a team, or less than 50? G. Bush, start us off.
Oh man, this is easy. The Browns rush for more than 200 yards as a team. I can't see less than 50. Less than 50 is Minimowski at best. Listen, 200 yards. You do have Jerome Ford. You have a couple guys. I like Pierre Strong. I think that if he got enough carries, he can really start breaking off some longer carries. You have Jerome Ford, who's shown that he can get around the corner and has long breakaway ability as well. He's shown that in other games. So for me, to run the play action that they want to run, you have to run the football. So therefore, I don't think the game plan is going to be, extendable if you're only running for 50 yards.
Did Nick Chubb get ruled back into action?
That'd be nice.
I wish. And also, are we going to flip the script where we're passing twice for every one run play? I don't think either are likely. But based on what I've seen recently, I really don't think this team goes for more than 200 rushing yards, particularly when it's been proven that they're going to be a passing offense. So I think if either of those two happens, they're held to less than 50 rushing yards. But that won't happen either.
I like that. That was fun, guys.
Yeah,
pull
I
that
like
one
it
back
too.
out.
How about you, Mikey?
Also, if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
Very good. We're taking a break. When we come back, no need to watch the game. Pre-written headlines, who wins and how they do it on the other side of the break. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It is now time for pre-written headlines. All 5 of us do one, and may the best man win. Here's how I think the game plays out. I think it's another victory for the Cleveland Browns, who have been very good at home and particularly have looked good on offense with Joe Flacco at the helm. Flacco mauls the Bears, and the Browns win this one 27-17. As I said earlier, his magic carpet ride continues.
Give me that 350 yards, too. Give me the 350 passing yards. Listen, the Browns are beat up. We know that. They've got a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball. It doesn't matter. Wounded Warriors. Injured Browns keep finding ways to win with the 27-17 victory over the Bears.
We had the exact same score.
Look at that. Yeah, we did. We did have the exact same score. So, yeah, I think they keep it rolling. It's a race to 10. We've said it all year. And this gets them one step closer to the playoffs.
Did you notice it says electricity? How does it work on there?
We'll explain that afterwards. That was an Anthony mishap at the live show yesterday.
Yeah, listen, let's get ready for the Kool-Aid flavors. This is going to be a good one right here. Browns is 5-1 at home. Hit them up. Joe Flacco. Browns D hunts down Yogi the Bear, Winnie the Pooh, and Justin Fields. All Bears die in a win. The Cleveland Browns do it again.
Oh, my God. They die.
Smokey the Bear?
Smokey the Bear. All of them.
Gone.
All Bears.
Bull, what do you got?
I shockingly have a win for the Browns, too. We all got them. No starters, no problems. Browns win 23-17 despite missing 6 defensive starters. I don't know if it will actually be 6, but 6 sounded good. So we'll go with that. But I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Browns to win.
Close.
Yeah.
What do you
Will
got?
it be a clean sweep? The answer is yes, it will be a clean sweep. I'm telling Joe Flacco to tell Father Time to go kick some rocks. Flacco turns back the clocks to 2012. They beat the Bears in a shootout despite 1,242 Browns on IR.
That might be a slight exaggeration,
Yeah.
but it's not far off. All right, thanks for watching the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Channel 3. If you enjoy what you saw, tune in to the 2-minute warning. Go to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. 2 minutes left in Sunday's game. The guys will break down everything that happened. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the game and go Browns.